Welcome to Tiger Sidelines, everybody. I'm Bo Bayman, joined by Gabe DeArmond and Dave Matter. We're here for week number 2. Missouri is 1-0 after a 38-18 win over South Dakota State. Kind of a typical first game, things to clean up, things to look at, and maybe not that exciting, right, Gabe?
It was really nondescript to me. I mean, really the Marcus Murphy touchdown return, 100-yard touchdown return, but outside of that, it was kind of like Missouri gets up 2 touchdowns, and then there was never really a second where you had any doubt what was going to happen.
It's kind of one of those games where there's no rhythm to it. The offense, came out looking really good the first couple series, then just went silent for a while. Then, like you said, the big kickoff return. There's things you can nitpick about both sides of the ball. I think this team can improve on it. And if you're the coaches, maybe you prefer to have a game like this than a 77-0 game where there's really nothing you can take out of it, any kind of learning lessons you can give your team. This game, at least, that was the most points an FCS team has scored, albeit 18. That was the most an FCS team has scored against a Pinkel coach team in the last 10 years or 13 years. So there's stuff there that you can show the team and say, hey, this wasn't great.
You know, it was a very, very hot day out there at Furrow Field. As we take a look at some of the highlights from the game, it was ironic because we weren't, 90 seconds into the game and it was already 7-7.
Yeah, boy, it was awful quick. And Missouri got started off, and really I think the running game is what Missouri probably takes away from that, even though it was the passing game that put them up. I think Darius White set career high for a single season in both touchdowns and yardage, 2 and 83. So season highs for him.
And what White did early in that game kind of shows you, too, what little the preseason scrimmages mean, because he was a non-factor in the scrimmages and then comes out and catches 2 balls early on and has Missouri on top early, and then after South Dakota State scored, he had him on top again.
And I thought, Russell Hansborough here, when we did kind of the camp recap, I thought he was the best player in camp on the offensive side of the football. Came out career high 126 and 20 carries, which for a running back at Missouri is a pretty high number. They usually haven't given a guy the ball that much.
Do you usually see a team, especially in the first week against an FCS opponent, will they go a little vanilla after they get up? I mean, do you think that's a fair assessment?
I think they go a little vanilla going in. I think Missouri has a few more tricks that they can do, and some more things they can use different guys, playmakers like Marcus Murphy, and on defense too. I thought they were fairly vanilla. You didn't see a lot of blitzes or a lot of crazy stuff, a lot of different alignments that Dave Steckel is known to bring out. So yeah, I think that's kind of the model game plan that Gary has in games like this.
It's funny though, when David Yost was here, that was the kind of game they would use a trick play in.
Right.
Because they would run a trick play so that when they played Oklahoma or when they played Nebraska, the defensive coordinator would have to spend 15 minutes one day going, okay, when they're in this formation, they might run this crazy play, because there really wasn't any danger of it. Now, if it didn't work against South Dakota State, who cared?
They got 3 turnovers on defense, and the defense did a pretty good job. The first play was kind of a broken play, 75-yard touchdown by Zenner. But after that, especially the defensive line, you look at Marcus Golden especially, they did pretty well, especially against the run.
Yep, Marcus Golden, take a minute to appreciate that. That game showed why a lot of us thought he was the best defensive end on the team last year. 10 tackles, 2 for a loss. Shane Ray on the other side. Those two guys, I think Missouri would like to develop the depth there, but those two guys are, I think, probably as good as there is in the SEC.
Yeah, that was Marcus Golden had 10 tackles. That was the most by a Missouri defensive lineman since Sheldon Richardson had, I think, 12 or 14 against Kentucky a couple of years ago. So that just shows you how involved he was.
He was good.
With everything. He was pretty good. And I think I turned to you in the middle of the game and said, I think he could have a year like Richardson where he's just making so many tackles and taking plays away from other guys because he just gets to the ball so fast.
Yeah. And they got 3 turnovers, which extends their streak to 45 games in a row with the turnover. And really, Gabe, you touched on this. The player of the game was Marcus Murphy. He turned the game. It's not that the game was in doubt at 21-18, but all of a sudden it really just shifted momentum right back to the Tigers when he went 100 yards.
Absolutely. South Dakota State closes within 3, and Murphy's stats, 9 carries, 54 yards. I think he had 3 catches for 20, but the 100-yard kickoff return was the play where you just said, okay, that's it. Now you can just kind of finish things out, run out the clock, and go to week 2 with a win.
Yeah, I thought the offense needed a lift. I thought the team needed a lift. I think the crowd kind of needed a lift too, just something to enjoy watching. And that just gave them some breathing room there. And you don't have to worry about South Dakota State suddenly believing that they could win when that margin was suddenly 10 instead of 3, and Missouri could just kind of coast things out from there.
We haven't talked about the quarterback, Matty Mock. What were your thoughts on his first performance? He hit some great passes. Other times they couldn't convert on third down.
Yeah, I mean, he was what we thought he was going to be. 35-yard touchdown, 50-yard touchdown, 30-yard touchdown. But where was the other side? You want to see a team that can go 10 plays, 80 yards. And I didn't see that. I saw a team that could go 3 plays, 80 yards because they got the huge play. And let's be honest, the third touchdown to Bud Sasser, that's not a touchdown in any other game Missouri plays this year.
That's offensive interference
so
or a pick.
I think Mock was exactly what we said coming into the year. He did some good things, but he has to be a lot better.
Yeah, he's not a game manager. I mean, when you're 3rd and short or 3rd and 5, you just need 6 yards, and he doesn't always give you that. He had that really reckless play there at the end of the half when they were in a 2-minute drive situation.
Yeah, right.
And tossed the ball over his shoulder to avoid a sack. And to his credit, he explained after the game he was just trying to stop the clock. Sure,
Which he did.
It did stop the clock. He could have given South Dakota State a touchdown there if somebody would have picked that ball up before it went out of bounds. But I think he's a little too reckless sometimes. But he's still just a sophomore, and he's going to have to learn on the go here as the season continues.
As a whole, the offense kind of up and down, like we said. It was almost 21 points right away, and then it was kind of the rest of the day.
And that's not what you want in a game like that. You want to be more consistent, and Missouri showed some issues there. And I don't think you can place blame on one area. It wasn't just Mock, it wasn't just receivers, it wasn't just the running game, it wasn't just the offensive line. It just kind of went stale for a while.
You said you wanted to see Eddie Prince in the game. We didn't see him. We probably could have on the last drive, but they were working on things.
Yeah, I mean, you're never going to put a backup in. I think Pinkel's rule is probably about 4 touchdowns.
Sure.
He's got to be up 21, 28, and really, why would you at that point? Because Matty Mock, you put the backup in when the starter has shown, I'm good. I've accomplished everything you want me to accomplish. And I don't think that was the case really anywhere except maybe in the running game last week.
Let's go back to the defense real quick. And what did you think of the secondary? They picked on Arian Benton for a long time, and then he made a big play in the end zone. For the most part, okay?
Too many completions, but again, it's
hard to tell.
I mean, you're up 21 points or whatever. It's kind of natural, I think, to let the foot off the gas.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of talent back there. There's no doubt about that. I mean, Benton showed it on the interception that he made, but it just took a while for them to kind of recognize what was going on. And he said it even took him a while to kind of realize, okay,
Sure.
this team's picking on me a little bit because I am pretty young. But to his credit, he did make a play there, and that was the second of 3 takeaways they had. And then the secondary came up with the forced fumble there later, which was crucial because they were about to be set up in the red zone there, and who knows if they kind of add on another touchdown there.
And the Tigers go on to win 38-18, 1-0 on the season. When we come back, we'll look at really a spectacular week 1 for some teams in the SEC, some surprises, some comeback wins, and we'll talk about it. You're watching Tiger Sidelines on MC22.